Here with a late night edition of the OBX Wave Report. I've been on travel today and it has been a long and good and eventful day. And for tonight, I am just going to provide a relatively basic wave report, not go too deeply into any climate related issues, although I will provide you guys with a global temperature anomaly assessment. And I'm going to save my little preamble that I was preparing for carbon dioxide and carbon dioxide equivalent greenhouse gas forcing for tomorrow morning, when hopefully I will get up and do a turnaround OBX wave report for you guys. But suffice it to say, greenhouse gas forcing and carbon dioxide equivalent forcing in the atmosphere right now is very high. I've heard some outlets saying it's carbon dioxide, for example, is in the range of the highest it's been in 3 million years, but it's also worth noting that we have other greenhouse gases as well, including methane, which is providing the second greatest forcing to carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. So the total greenhouse gas forcing in the atmosphere right now is rather high once you add in carbon dioxide, methane, and all the other greenhouse gases. Um, I'll get into this more tomorrow, but it's worth noting that rapid response to climate change and deployment of clean energy can draw down some of the shorter lived greenhouse gases and put us in a much better position. But right now, the position is not very good. There's a lot of heat forcing in the atmosphere, and we really need to get our act together to transition to clean energy and stop burning and mining fossil fuels, both of which are heavy carbon polluters, and carbon pollution, carbon dioxide pollution, methane pollution, and other related greenhouse gas pollution are the drivers of climate change. Primary driver being fossil fuel burning and transport and extraction. All right, so let's get into the OBX wave report for tonight. And right now, across the Outer Banks, it is clear. I am not in the Outer Banks right now, but I did get some video from earlier today. It is very calm, very clear across the Outer Banks. Offshore, we've got a frontal boundary, and in the Gulf of Mexico, some storms. And in the central US, another storm system just starting to form. And unfortunately, central US is once again under the gun for some severe weather, and looks like potential for flooding is also starting to ramp up as yet another storm system taps into those warmer than normal Gulf of Mexico waters to fire off some severe weather for the central US. At least that's what's in the predictive summaries right now. We do have some storms moving across Nebraska, parts of the central US. A couple of severe thunderstorm watches up, but nothing too crazy as yet. We do have enhanced risk of fires over parts of New Mexico, extreme southeast Arizona, just east of Tucson, parts of northwest Texas, parts of southeast Colorado, and parts of northwest Oklahoma and southwestern Kansas. Looking at the enhanced cloud tops, you can see some thunderstorms starting to fire off across Nebraska. There's actually a very large, what looks like a large supercell thunderstorm in Nebraska right now. Actually, you know what? That one looks freaky. Let's zoom in on this thing, see what kind of alerts there are. I wonder if there's a tornadic type activity with that severe thunderstorm warning in that region. So very beefy thunderstorm moving through. Um, Looks like southeast Nebraska right now. And you can see that really popping with those red enhanced cloud tops late at night. Typically, major thunderstorm activity occurs in the late afternoon. So, but right now, nonetheless, we've got very severe thunderstorm firing off here in southeast Nebraska. You can see the moisture streaming in from the Pacific across Mexico. The Gulf of Mexico itself, much warmer than normal, producing a lot of moisture. And then the North Atlantic generally much warmer than normal as well. All right, and of course you can see those sea surface temperatures in the sea surface temperature anomaly map. Much of the North Atlantic much warmer than normal at this time. And then we also have the beginnings of a transition to El Nino here in the eastern equatorial Pacific, and you can see those very warm surface waters beginning to pool. El Nino often presages a potential for new record global temperatures, and we do have a potential for record new global temperature records in 2023 and in 2024. All right, getting down to our local wave observations. We're going to go ahead and start at Jeanette's Pier right now. And the general word right now for waves across the Outer Banks is small. I went down to Kill Devil Hills earlier today and it was Lake Atlantic out there. And I wouldn't be surprised if many of these beaches are looking a lot like Lake Atlantic. Right now at Jeanette's Pier, waves are in the range of 1 foot with a primary swell coming at 6 seconds as a 1.4 foot swell. That's out of the southeast. Larger than I'd expect, so maybe there's a little bit more swell than what I observed earlier today. Secondary swell coming at 13 seconds, so 0.3 foot swell out of the east-northeast. Nonetheless, very small. Winds out of the southwest at 14 miles per hour, that is offshore. Air temperature is 61 degrees down there at Jeanette's Pier. Ocean water temperature is 58. Conditions are clear right now and expected to remain mostly clear throughout the night. Low by morning around 59 degrees Fahrenheit. Worth noting that those ocean water temperatures continue to show warmer readings. It's likely that we'll get into the 60s sometime soon. Heading south to Rodanthe, having to use my mouse traction pad. So yeah, the touchpad on the computer. Down at Rodanthe right now, waves according to the wave monitors in the range of 1 to 2 feet. Primary swell coming in at 6 seconds. Primary swell coming in at 6 seconds. That's a 1.5 foot swell out of the southeast, still pretty small. Secondary swell coming in out of the east at 11 seconds. That's a 0.4 foot swell. Winds out of the southwest at 19 miles per hour. That is an offshore flow. Air temperature is 62 degrees right now, and ocean water temperature is the same at 62 degrees. For the rest of it tonight, expected to be clear with a low around 60 degrees Fahrenheit. And then for our last observation this evening, we are going to head on down to Buxton, past Avon. And at Buxton right now, according to the wave monitors, waves are in the range of 1 to 2 feet. Primary swell coming in at 6 seconds. That is a 1.9 foot swell out of the southeast. Secondary swell coming in at 11 seconds, 0.4 foot swell out of the east. I think these might be the smallest waves I've seen at Buxton like all winter and spring. I don't know. Maybe there was a day when it was smaller, but I don't remember it. Winds right now out of the southwest at 18 miles per hour. That is an offshore flow. Air temperatures right now 68 degrees Fahrenheit. Ocean water temperatures 67. Warming up down there at Buxton, getting close to the 70-degree mark, but hasn't yet broken the 70-degree mark yet. And then for tonight, weather conditions expected to be partly cloudy with a low near 64. Getting back to the broader perspective, I do want to provide you with the global temperature anomalies, and it's worth noting that for today, the global anomaly is much warmer than normal at 0.536 degrees Celsius above the 1981 to 2000 reference period, which is an already warmer than normal reference period. The Arctic is also much warmer than normal at 0.643 degrees Celsius above normal. Tropics heating up at 0.55 degrees Celsius above normal. The El Nino influence really starting to take hold there in the tropics, and you can really start to see the atmospheric response to those warmer than normal sea surface temperatures out there off the west coast of South America. And you generally expect this warm area to spread as El Nino begins to move across the Pacific. And that's what we expect to see as we start to get into summer this year. And also looking at the Antarctic temperatures are 0.539 degrees Celsius above normal. So no major region of the world in this assessment provided by Karsten Hostein showing any area below normal. Of course, we do have spots on the globe where below normal temperatures are occurring, but these are in um, basically a counter to the global anomaly, which is much warmer than normal. And I haven't seen a below normal day since I started this, so unlikely to see one, but we might. Nonetheless, we are still seeing rather intense global warming in total in the range of 1.2 to 1.3 degrees Celsius above 1880 to 1920 the 1880 to 1920 reference period range. And unfortunately, as El Nino begins to flare, we are likely to see global temperature records fall or be challenged over the next 2 years. All right, looking at the 6 to 10 day temperature and precipitation outlook, we do find that temperatures are expected to get a little bit cooler than normal. Um, well, yeah, it could be rather below normal here in the central eastern United States with the mid-Atlantic region. The focus for some potential cooler weather. This also speaks to me of potential stormy conditions, um, which we do see in some of the precipitation outlook. Worth noting that the Southwest is expected to be warmer than normal, and the Pacific Northwest are somewhat cooler than normal. Above normal precipitation expected for much of the southeast and central U.S., and then sweeping on up through the central northern tier, with below normal precipitation expected for the U.S. West Coast and parts of the Great Lakes region over the 6 to 10 day period. Looking at the quantitative prediction forecast, does look like we're going to get some more storminess for the Mississippi River Valley region. And we've had consistent storms over this region, so we might start to be concerned about flooding. We've had storm system after storm system after storm system inundate the area, and we are just getting into the stormy season for this region. So if the traditional storming season arrives and we get enhanced severe weather over parts of the Mississippi River Valley region, on top of what we've already seen, we might be looking at some flooding, and we already have some flood potential starting to pop up in the weather alerts provided by our weather experts. It's also worth noting that the Pacific Northwest is still receiving a barrage of storms coming in from the West Coast and is expected to see that continue through the next 7 days. Worth noting that the Southwest region is expected to be dry. And unfortunately, with the predicted heat, early onset of heat for this time of year, we might start to see more drought conditions reassert themselves in the Southwest. Let's hope not, but that's kind of that's kind of what things are looking like, or what it looks like things are trending toward. Okay, looking at the Storm Prediction Center, we do have the potential for some thunderstorms tonight over parts of the central U.S., ranging from Texas all the way through the Dakotas. And for tomorrow, looks like some severe weather potential for parts of the central U.S., ranging from Oklahoma through Kansas, Nebraska, Iowa, and Missouri. And then on Thursday, we have some severe weather potential for the states of Arkansas, southeastern Missouri, eastern and northeastern Texas, and northwest Louisiana particularly. So enhanced severe weather risk over the next 2 days for these regions. Please pay attention to your local weather statements and emergency management folk, and do your best to protect life and property should severe weather threaten. Looking at the global forecast system model, we do see the storm system beginning to form over the central US, and storms are expected to fire over the next couple of days in this region and then start to sweep on toward the east by the weekend, by Friday and Saturday. It looks like we might get a repeat of some severe weather on Saturday as well. All right, getting down to our wave forecast. For the next few days, we expect waves to be rather small, but then as we get into the Friday and Saturday time period, we expect the waves to begin to increase again as storminess returns to the US East Coast. So for today, wave heights in the range of 3 feet in the near offshore environment off of Cape Hatteras, wave heights in the range of 2.4 feet in the near offshore environment on Wednesday, and then into Thursday, waves in the range of 2.5 feet in the near offshore environment. So basically no change today, tomorrow, and Wednesday. Um, small conditions will continue on Thursday, and also, um, yeah, I said that waves might start picking up on Friday. Unfortunately, actually, it doesn't look like they start picking up until Saturday. Um, looking at these model forecasts. So small waves in the range of 2.4 feet in the near offshore environment on Friday. But then by the time we get into Saturday, looks like we get some stronger winds. Let's look at the air currents. Yeah, rather strong winds coming in from the south and east in the range of, looks like near gale force just offshore. Let's look at the coastal waters. Yeah, strong winds expected on Saturday coming in from the southeast. Let's back this up a little bit. Mm, Yeah, so it looks like early in the day on Saturday, high pressure system starting to kick in those southeast winds, and then um, front begins to approach, and then the interaction between the high and the front starts to pull in some very strong southeast winds. Let's get back to early in the day. I'm curious what the waves are expected to be like early in the day on Saturday. So still small early in the day, and then as the day progresses, waves slowly building as we get some of those southeast winds. And then as the southeast winds strengthen, we get swells building. Let's see, this is by the afternoon hours. So it looks like by in the afternoon on Saturdays, waves building in the near offshore environment from 3, 4 to 5 feet. And then by evening, wave heights getting into the 6-foot range. And then by almost midnight, near offshore wave heights in the range of 8 feet. So looks like we're going to get a building swell on Saturday and better waves on Sunday and Monday as a result. So it does look like the present spate of small waves is expected to end this this Saturday, and we're expecting to see better waves Saturday, Sunday, and into next Monday, and possibly even through the following week. So that's exciting to me. I'm looking forward to getting some good surf in. I'm up here in um, Salem and Blacksburg the next day or two, but not really looking forward to heading back to the Outer Banks with small waves to greet me. I like to have some more waves, but nonetheless, I'm gonna have to wait to Saturday and Sunday until the waves get a little bit better. All right, so thanks for joining me for this session of the OBX Wave Report, a notably briefer session because I'm on travel, I'm busy. Whew. It's a little bit of extra work to do this thing, but don't get me wrong, it's great being here with all you guys. And as I always do, I'd like to ask you guys to please do everything you can to help speed the transition to clean energy and protect our coastlines from the impacts of climate change, which are driven by fossil fuel burning. We can replace fossil fuel burning with wind, water, solar, and electric vehicles, and we can do it rapidly now. And we really need to because our coastlines are under the gun from sea level rise, more intense storms, and the impacts of ocean acidification, among others. So thank you for joining me once again, and I will be back with you tomorrow.